Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On 49ers Squad Show. I'm your host, Eric Triple E. Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR, or maybe from some of these other Locked On shows that we do. But today, 49ers, man, they rolled over the Cardinals 41-22, and Brock Purdy showed everybody why there's absolutely no quarterback controversy in San Francisco, and he is still QB1.
Hey, I'm Dwayne Boyd, four-time Super Bowl champion and ex-49er football player. You watching the game, something new happened. The 49ers was +3 in the turnover ratio. And they had two interceptions and one fumble recovery, and that made the difference in the game. Not only the turnover battle, but it was something that hasn't been happening lately with the defense.
I'm Eric Crocker, former NFL and AFL defensive back and one half of the Locked On 49ers crew. And today, man, we're going to kind of talk about the 49ers taking advantage of the Arizona Cardinals, 17 penalties for 130 yards.
Oh, man. Not a good recipe for winning if you're the Cardinals, but if you're a Niners fan, you'll take it. And the Locked On 49ers Squad Show starts right now.
To all the faithful, it's the 49ers Squad. Everything San Francisco 49ers every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from Levi's Stadium. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. For those faithful to the Bay, the 49ers Squad Show starts now.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Locked On 49ers Squad Show. Shout out all our everydayers tuning in on the Locked On 49ers YouTube channel or listening on the Locked On 49ers podcast feed. However you're tuning in, we appreciate it. Make sure you're subscribed. However you're tuning into the show, whatever platform you're using, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a show. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your first bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And guys, let's start with the quarterback, because today Brock looked great. And I felt like this was the best the offense has looked at any point in time since maybe that first drive against Seattle way back in week 1 when the 49ers had their full complement of offensive weapons. And you still might be missing, like a Brandon Ayuk and guys like that. I mean, they're not fully healthy. Ricky Pearsall, more of a decoy today, even though he was active. Only one reception for Ricky for 0 yards. But Brock, he had 3 touchdowns, no picks, 19 of 26 passing the ball. I thought he was very, very efficient. And I thought that you saw some things from him today that kind of signaled, this is why Brock is the quarterback 1 for this offense. Before we started the show, Dwayne, you and I were talking a little bit about the play calling. So why don't we start there? What do you think the 49ers were able to do with Brock a little bit differently than they were able to do with Mac Jones in today's game?
I thought that was more creative with them, and the thing that they used more of, they was in 21 personnel most of the game, along with 12 personnel, which is 21 personnel when you got a fullback in the game and 2 wide receivers and running back, and they worked it great. The toss plays in the running game was working, and they was able to get the play action going for the first time. And we haven't seen very much play action in the last few games with Matt Jones, but with Brock back there and going with the 2-back set made a big difference in the run game and also in pass protection. And Brock was only sacked 1 time. And on that, I got nervous on that sack too. I thought, gee, don't let him get hurt. Don't let him get hurt. Throw the ball away. He should have just threw the ball away when he saw the pressure coming, but he didn't.
Maybe do one of those Peyton Manning, Tom Brady maneuvers where the defenders come in and you just lay down on the ground, just fall down and avoid the hit. You know what I mean? Make a business decision. He's kind of the only guy out there who I'm giving a pass to if he makes a business decision on a play like that. But I felt like you saw a lot of creativity, like you're saying, Dwayne. I also thought like you saw a lot of pinpoint precision from Brock today. You saw him getting out of the pocket, utilizing the legs a little bit, something that we haven't really seen from anybody at the quarterback position lately because, Mac's been less than 100% with those knees, and he's not the most mobile guy in general. But seeing Brock make those off-schedule plays and in the accuracy that he was able to deliver the football with, I'm especially thinking of that touchdown down the right sideline. I believe it was in the first half to George Kittle, where there were 2 or 3 defenders in the area, and he just put that ball right in the one spot where he needed to put it, where only his guy could make a play. touchdown 49ers on the play. And I don't think that it's a coincidence that you finally get your whole offense back and you put up 41 points, the most points the 49ers have put up this season. And the offense looked pretty damn good, man. And even though Brock only had the 200 yards passing, I mean, it still looked like it was the 49ers offense of old again. It even unlocked Christian McCaffrey a little bit, 81 yards on 13 carries, 6.2 yard per carry average, and a couple of touchdowns. His longest rush of the year, also a 20-yard run. So Crocky, do you think that just kind of having all these bodies back just kind of got the 49ers offense back to what we expect it to be?
Well, I think one big factor in that with the offense, or at least the points that the 49ers put up, was one, the opening kickoff that they returned inside the 5. 49ers have not had that kind of return on special teams in a lot of years.
Oh, man.
And then two, the interception by Diamador Lenore, putting the 49ers, in the red zone as well. First interception in almost a calendar year, if not a calendar year. So I think those two plays right there that led to touchdowns for the 49ers were a huge contributor to the 49ers putting up 42 points. Outside of that, I do think it was a terrific job by Brock Purdy, especially on early downs. I thought he was exceptional on early downs, knowing exactly where he needed to go with the ball, being pinpoint accurate. You talked about the touchdown to George Kittle on the first drive there, where really that let me actually rewind a couple plays. They had the play where it was kind of a clear out with the deep out. I thought it was a terrific concept. He layered it in there right there. Nice, easy throw for him, completed, boom, downfield, explosive play for the 49ers. 2 plays later, he comes back with the touchdown to George Kittle, where it looked like he might have hot routed that, right? So when you hear George Kittle talk about the command of the offense that Brock Purdy has, you see it on plays like that where he sees something he likes and he throws it in there really away from the 2 defenders where they had zero chance at making a play on the ball, pinpoint accuracy. I thought that was really good. There were some plays where it was like, all right, Brock, we don't really want you to do that. He spun out of a play, rolled out to his left, was late on the throw, nearly intercepted by a defender for the Arizona Cardinals. There was another one where the Cardinals dropped a pick over the middle. So a couple of those were like, I don't like that. But again, especially on first and second down, I thought Brock Purdy was terrific. And the 49ers, they've definitely been missing that.
Yeah, keeping him on schedule. I thought that's what he did best today. And he didn't go out there and try and play hero ball. And that was something that I was kind of worried about him coming back, was maybe him trying to do too much and press in, maybe ending up back on that injury report and maybe trying to do a little too much with his legs. I didn't see any of that from Brock today, other than that one play that you're describing. That was kind of the one time where I was like, maybe you should do a little less. But I mean, it didn't seem like he was pressing out there. You look at the yardage, and 200 yards passing, that's, I think, a little lower than you would have expected for Brock when you look at the 49ers having scored 41 points. But it just felt like he was doing what the offense needed, right? Like he was never playing outside of himself or outside of the system. He was doing exactly what he needed to do within the Kyle Shanahan scheme. And it worked. I mean, you spread the ball out really, really well. I mean, you had George Kittle leading the way receptions wise with 6 and the 2 touchdowns. But I mean, he completed passes to a ton of different receivers today. Demarcus Robinson, Kyle Juszczyk, Christian McCaffrey, Ricky Pearsall. He also targeted Brian Robinson, didn't come down with a catch. But you had I think pretty much this whole offense for the most part doing what it's supposed to do, and we haven't really seen that at all this season. It's been, one guy shines, but kind of carries the load, but the rest of something else is missing. Like maybe the pass game looks good, but the run game is averaging, 2 yards a carry. And today it just felt good, right? Like I think this is the one show that we've done so far where I don't have like a glaring problem that I wanted to come in and discuss right away, because we had the 49ers do pretty much everything they needed to do. They win all 3 phases of the game. And that's obviously a big part of winning games in football, but especially on the road. Dwayne, you always tell me there's 2 things you need to pack when you go on the road in the National Football League: your special teams and your defense. And I want to give some love to the special teams. I mean, you were talking about it earlier, Crockett, that big return from Sky Moore to start the game. Well, how about right after halftime? You get Brian Robinson Jr. getting the ball out to midfield. I mean, you had 2 big kick returns in this game that set up touchdown drives, not just scoring drives, but touchdown drives for the 49ers in this one. I thought that was absolutely massive. And Dwayne, maybe you could speak a little bit to that. The 49ers special teams playing a big role in this one. And it's how much easier is it to win a football game in this league when you actually get some positives from your special teams unit?
Well, when you got the special teams clicking and the offense on the roll, that's two areas of your team that's playing well, and you need that when you go on the road. And we talked about a couple weeks, last week, when 49ers going on the road, they brought somebody else with them too. They brought the 49 faithful with them, and that changes the game too. When you got your home team with you on the road, and you got it in your back pocket. But it was some breakdowns on special teams too. That block kick was tough. That was hard, and Money shouldn't have went. He shouldn't have even tried to touch that ball. He should have got out to it.
Yeah,
that's where he hurt his groin at, and he wasn't able to kick no more. But you can see down the road, those are 3 areas that you're going to need. You're going to need those to get into the playoffs. You're going to need your special teams hot, which you saw some flashes of the return game, and you're going to need your defense coming on too. And we'll get to that later on when we start talking about the defense and what they need to work on and what they need to be a playoff contender. But the offense is one thing that was a bright spot. And the guy that make it bright is, we've been saying that Kittle is the one that lights the fire on that team.
Yeah, I mean, Kittle was a maniac today. I mean, that third down, I think it was a third down that he converted for a first, where he caught the ball about maybe 3 or 4 yards shy of the marker in the red zone, and guy wraps him up, and George Kittle just puts an arm right in his face mask and just drives him straight backwards. And 2 other guys jumped on the pile. Didn't matter. George was getting that first down. And man, I don't think there's anybody that's ever lived that's loved playing football as much as George Kittle. I mean, this guy is just, he's out there getting, dragged down by 3-4 guys at the same time, and he's smiling while it's happening. He's laughing. He's doing the point and just the whole thing, man. And I don't know how it kind of like we talked about Baker Mayfield during that Bucs 49ers game, how Baker just kind of rallied that entire team, not just the offense, but the entire team, with just his electricity as a player and as a person. George Kittle does that same thing. I mean, he's rallying up, not just the offense, but the defense, the special teams. This guy makes an intangible impact on virtually everything that the 49ers do. In my opinion, he's their best football player at this point. I think for a number of years, you could have made the case that Christian McCaffrey, I think if you tried to make a case for anyone other than Christian McCaffrey for a number of years as the best player for the 49ers, it probably would have been a losing battle. Trent Williams, maybe. And you can throw Fred Warner in there too when he's healthy. But I think for my money right now, when you look at the whole picture, it's George Kittle, man. I don't know anybody else that's going to go out there and block like a tackle in both the run game and the pass game when he's held back in pass protection, which is rare, but also be able to go out there and run routes like receiver, move after the catch like a running back. I mean, I bet this guy could go play linebacker if they really needed him to. I mean, this guy does everything out there on the football field that you could possibly want from a guy, and the energy that he injects into this team is, you can't quantify it. You can't give, you can't, add this guy gave you 6 points through his energy today, but he kind of did, man. The way George Kittle carries himself, it impacts everything this football team does, and they look like a different football team when he and Brock Purdy are on the field together. And I think that when this offense looks like this, I know it's the Arizona Cardinals. I know they're 1-4 at home and 3-7 on the road, or 3-7 in total. They have not had a very good season. But this is still you're still shorthanded as the 49ers. They have been all year long and for years at this point. But I think that it's, when you have these 2 guys, you can go toe-to-toe with pretty much anybody in the league right now, as long as the defense can sustain what they've started to do. So today, the defense wins the turnover battle, but again, a lot of yardage given up. So let's talk about the defense on the other side. There were some things that were maybe cause for concern, but ultimately the defense gave you what you needed from them to get a win. So let's break that down. The 49ers defense on the other side here on the Locked On 49ers Squad Show. Today's show is brought to you by Mint Mobile. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for just $15 a month. Mint makes it simple. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can even bring your own phone and keep your same phone number and contacts. And you're not getting less for this price point. I want to stress that. With Mint Mobile, you're paying less, but you're still getting all the perks of a premium provider. It's a no-brainer. So if you're ready to say yes to saying no, make the switch at mintmobile.com/lockedonnfl. That's mintmobile.com/lockedonnfl. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may be slow, above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plans. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Welcome back to the Locked On 49ers Squad Show. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, joined by four-time Super Bowl champion Dwayne Board and co-host of the Locked On 49ers podcast, Eric Crocker. And today, guys, 49ers 41-22 rolled over the Cardinals, but Jacoby Brissett did have 47 completions, man. For Jacoby Brissett, that's an NFL record for Jacoby Brissett. And mind you, this guy has no James Conner, no Marvin Harrison Jr. He had 15 completions to Michael Wilson for 185 yards, man. And I know a lot of this came in garbage time. Trey McBride also with 10 receptions for 115 yards and a touchdown. But ultimately, that's you can't be giving up that to Jacoby Brissett and the Arizona Cardinals, especially when they're shorthanded. But ultimately, the defense comes away with 3 turnovers in this one, something we have not seen from this defense too much. 49ers were -8 in the turnover category this year coming into this game. So you were +3 today. That's going to move you in the right direction. But it's been a cause of concern for me all season long, is wondering if the 49ers can consistently produce turnovers, because this defense at this point isn't going to be forcing a whole lot of 3 and outs on people. I mean, especially with the additional injuries that happened today. We can talk about that in a minute. But Dwayne, what do you need from this defense going forward? What are your expectations of this defense going forward? I know for me, I think that if you can just get a couple turnovers a game, if you can have more turnovers, if you can force more turnovers on defense than you give away on offense, I think you're going to be in a pretty good spot. That's my expert analysis. But what do you think this 49ers defense needs to do to produce some more wins for this team down the stretch?
You know, the thing that I believe that they need is in the big red zone. When you get in the big red zone, you got to be able to stop teams from scoring. And you didn't see that today. It was too easy for when Arizona got down in the red zone. They scored, and you would like to see them turn it away. You would like to, if anything, let them have a field goal, but don't let them put the ball in the end zone. The one turnover that they did come up with, they got the ball out, and it was like the run was like almost a half a yard from scoring, and finally they got the ball out. But they need to come up with more turnovers. But the thing that you see that's hurting them right now, the linebacker core, it's a bunch of who's who, and you don't know who's the next man up. They lost Bethune today to an ankle injury, and I think that hurt them. And also, you look on the back end, man, it was pitch and catch. If I was a DB, I don't know, Croc, maybe you can talk on. You went home at night after the game and you had given up that many yards, and hey, you wouldn't sleep well. And you gave up 185 yards to Wilson, a guy who played. What did he play, Eric? You know, yeah.
Stanford guy. Here we go. Yeah, I want to say Stanford.
Yeah, he's a Stanford guy. You let a Stanford guy get 185 yards on you? Man, that was probably I was at Stanford in practice. He probably got 185, 200 yards in practice at Stanford. But you don't look for a guy coming in the NFL and opening up his yardage against you. I wouldn't sleep at night.
Yeah, and this is a guy who was never the wide receiver one at any, maybe he was in high school, but he was never the wide receiver one when he was at Stanford. He's never been a wide receiver one in the NFL. This was literally the first opportunity that this guy had to be the number one option. I mean, he delivered for the for the Cardinals for sure in today's game. I mean, this was a guy who only had 231 yards all season long coming into this game. So, I mean, pretty impressive day from Michael Wilson, but yeah, Crocky, a little bit cause for concern here, right? Like, we can look at the Diamador Lenore thing and like, yeah, that was a great interception, even better return, and like the way he broke on that ball on that route was impressive. The route before, he got cooked, man. And I mean, he got absolutely cooked.
So we could talk about that, right? It was kind of a bench route or like a corner route. And it almost looked like he was playing it to undercut a deep out. Now, I worked with DBs this morning. All right, I was out there with these kids at 8 a.m. And I told them the number one reason defensive backs get beat is because of having bad eyes. Like, that is the number one reason. So on that play, when the receiver broke out and I looked at Diamador Lenore, his eyes went straight to the quarterback as opposed to closing the space between him and the receiver. So he started running to where he thought the receiver was going while looking back at the quarterback. The ball faded the receiver more up the field. So that was a good job by them, but a bad job by his eyes. Now, the next play, obviously, I think he had better eyes, and it was a really late throw by Brissett, and Diamador Lenore was the beneficiary of that and did a terrific job of not just picking up the pass, but returning it for a lot of yards. So that was awesome. When you get those opportunities, you got to take advantage of it. We saw the Arizona Cardinals drop 2 passes that probably should have been intercepted, not taking advantage of the opportunity. 49ers, on the other hand, they picked off 2 and also forced a fumble in the red zone as well, going into the end zone. Take advantage of all those things, because the 49ers, a team who has not turned the ball over a lot or had a lot of turnovers, you need everyone you can get to kind of get that monkey off your back and start getting the ball rolling in the right way and be more opportunistic in that category. But yeah, Diamador Lenore, he also had a nice PBU earlier in the game, so you like to see that. But the one play you're talking about where he got cooked, it was bad eyes. It was just bad eyes. I think he'd tell you the same thing.
Yeah, and this isn't the first time we've seen this from the 49ers secondary, right? Like, we've seen them have some missed coverages, some blown coverages so far this year, and it's been a lot of issues at the safety position in pass coverage as well. And you saw, I think, a little bit more of that, especially late in the game, kind of some garbage time minutes when that was happening. But still, I know you're up. You know, the game was well in hand at that point, but you still don't want to see 452 passing yards for Jacoby Brissett at the end of the day. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I feel like you want to have a little bit more. It's what we were talking about last week, right? You're playing with a standard. Man's got to have a standard. Fred Warner is the guy that sets that standard on the defense. And right now, I don't really sense that there's a guy that's doing that out there. So, Dwayne, do you think that the 49ers are kind of missing that standard on defense right now?
Yeah, they missing it big time. They missing it in on the line up front, because on the touchdown that Croc was talking about, man, he had all day long back there, and bad eyes or no eyes. And if the quarterback has that much time, he's going to complete the ball. It's like warming up in warm-ups. They're going to go deep on him. I'm not worried about getting hit by these guys, and that's what you see. You up front, you don't see a leader, a guy who's flying around playing, from the beginning of the clock till the end of the clock. You don't see that, and it showed up late in the game, man. When if I'm a defensive lineman and we're up and they got to throw the ball every down, man, it's time for me to pad my sacks. But then you look at the guys that's out there. Man, these guys, they take 2 steps and they're watching, they're waiting for the popcorn and Coke to get back, to my seat so I can watch the rest of the movie. But damn, you don't see it. You don't see the guys that closing on a quarterback neither. Once they get on a block, they can't get off and close on him. And the one time that on the interception, they ran a game, they ran a stunt, and guess what? It affected the quarterback, and I think that had something to do with the interception too, when the quarterback wasn't able to step into his throw. But they got to do something up front, and they got to do it quick. And the thing too, you can't go into a game with 7 defensive linemen. Not in the NFL, man. You got to have at least eight or 9 active, because you get in a game like that, you got to be able to roll those guys and keep them fresh.
And Valdez still sitting there on the practice squad, wondering when the hell he's going to get called up, because why are they keeping him on the practice squad if not for this exact situation? No sacks for the 49ers today, which is not super surprising. Bryce Huff did have a couple quarterback hits, but it seems like he's the only guy who can kind of get into the backfield or beat a pass rush one-on-one with any sort of relative consistency. But yeah, like to steal one of your phrases, Dwayne, a bunch of refrigerator magnets out there just sticking to the offensive lineman, and you got a whole lot of nothing happening with that pass rush. So an area where you know that the 49ers are going to lack going forward is that pass rush. So because just personnel wise, it's predictable, it's going to happen, it's something they're going to deal with for the rest of the season. So my question is, how can this defense, despite its flaws, which we know they're well documented, how can they still be a good enough unit to put this team in playoff position, Crocky? I mean, how can what does this 49ers defense need to do every week in order to put the 49ers in a position to be playing football in January?
I think the thing they need to do is get pressure on the opposing quarterbacks, and I don't know if they have the personnel to be able to do that. And they tried to make, some trades. You see White over there for the 49ers, obviously trading for Huff before the season, and I'm not sure either one of those guys are really going to be able to help the 49ers right now. So it's tough. I think that's the downfall, and I'd say it's even more frustrating because when you look around the NFL, what teams do you see that are good? Like, what team do you see that, because typically you watch the 49ers team right now, it's like, not a great year for the 49ers, where they're at a lot of injuries. Like, they're not really a contender right now. But when you look at the rest of the NFL, well, who is a true Super Bowl contender? I don't see that team. Like, I don't see that one team that just looks like they're so dominant. You see records, and I look and watch the different Broncos. They continue to win. But I look at them, I'm like, they don't look like this good football team. And I'd say that's the same for the rest of the NFL. A lot of teams aren't great. So if there was any season where the 49ers could take advantage of maybe not being great on one side of the ball, it's probably this season. But that pass rush is definitely an issue, and that would be the one thing. If they just had an average pass rush, I think that would make this 49ers truly a contender. But right now, it's not just below average. It's probably one of the worst in the NFL.
Yeah. And to your point about there not being a single dominant team. Yeah. I mean, even I would say, if you're asking me, I think the best team so far to this point in the season has been the Bills. Personally, that's where I would put my money, but I mean, they can't stop the run. And you saw it again today. They couldn't stop the run against the Bucs. And you had a backup running back have a career day against them. And I think that's, just further proving your point. Yeah, there is no like truly dominant team that just has everything figured out right now. Like, everybody has some kind of a flaw, and it would be great if the 49ers still had a healthy Fred Warner and Nick Bosa, because that would just change everything about this team, I think. And speaking of linebackers, 49ers had some more injuries to deal with at the linebacker position. Dwayne, you mentioned earlier Tatum Bethune, but you also had Luke Gifford go down in this one, and you saw a lot of Curtis Robinson out there. And the one guy we finally got to see, which we've been kind of complaining about this last couple of weeks, Nick Martin makes an appearance on the field for the Niners. He had 7 tackles. He had 5 solo tackles on the day. So I mean, ultimately, I feel like he was okay. He didn't really jump off the screen to me when I was watching. But Dwayne, what did you see from Nick Martin out there, number 45? Your first real extended time seeing him in a 49er uniform in a regular season game.
He was doing a great job of moving around and getting to the ball. And the thing that that the defense showed a little more of this game. Well, they didn't get formation in a lot, but like in the game against the Rams, was getting lined up, and seemed like he knew how to get lined up. And the week before, it wasn't like that. When the Rams came out in 13 personnel with him, they was having a tough time getting lined up. But he has some ability, and they gonna need him down the stretch. But right now, they're going to need just anybody they can find who can play linebacker.
Just warm bodies is what the 49ers need right now.
It's sad right now because the numbers are down at the linebacker position.
Yeah, I mean, you had Curtis Robinson lead the way in tackles for the 49ers today. And Curtis Robinson's a guy who's normally playing special teams. He's not normally your green dot on your defense. But today, Curtis Robinson getting a lot of run out there. D. Winters also had 10 tackles today. I thought he played an all right game. I thought he had a few pass coverage moments where I thought he could have been better, but also I thought that he played the run pretty well. And especially there was one option read play that the Cardinals tried to run, and D. Winters just single-handedly completely blew that thing up in the backfield. So I still like what I'm seeing from D. Winters. You got to hope and pray that guy just does not go down for the rest of the season. Because if you see an injury to D. Winters, I think that linebacking core becomes kind of next. It joins the pass rush as one of the worst units in the NFL at that point. And you've had a lot of next man up success so far, where you've had guys like Tatum Bethune come in and play pretty well. D. Winters was a relative surprise-ish, I guess you could say, coming into the season. I think a lot of people expected him to be better, but I think the leap that he made this year was bigger than a lot of people expected. And in general, I think that you just you got to figure out a way to keep this current group healthy, right? Like it's the most important thing that the 49ers need to do is just figure out how to keep all these current guys especially on the defensive side of the ball, on the field for the rest of the season. And that's going to be I think a tough task, because because you have less bodies rotating guys in and out less, you're playing a lot more snaps than some of these guys normally would. And we'll see if that works. But man, if they need some help in the secondary, I know they could probably reach out to Crocky. He's just saying he's been doing he was just out there this morning, 8 a.m. getting some reps in. And Crocky, I want to know, are you still the fastest backpedaler? Like when you're doing drills with your DBs, anyone on your team, anyone on your high school team beating you in a backpedal race?
Oh man, I might be a little bit more fluid with the backpedaling those guys, but the speed is gone. It's gone. And I'm probably one break away from probably rupturing my Achilles. So I need to knock on wood. I don't want to speak it into existence, but I'm definitely terrified every time I'm out there trying to demonstrate how to backpedal.
Well, if the 49ers need you, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody on this 49ers defense right now is one bad break away from tearing an Achilles, the way that this season's been going. So you'd fit right in with the squad, man. But we'll see what happens for the 49ers defensively, health-wise, the rest of the season. But for now, you got to hope that Nick Martin can continue to contribute defensively. And I didn't see anything from him that really jumped off the page as like a negative, which kind of leads me to the question, why the hell hasn't this guy been playing more? Like, why did we wait until week 11 to get Nick Martin some action on the field? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
I thought Nick Martin had the problem. He had the one problem on McBride one time on McBride's touchdown. He should have carried him, but he lost his eyes on that play. I think Croc, he was looking in the backfield, and McBride was able to run by him. But hey, that's a learning experience for him. So hopefully he'll learn from that mistake and don't let it happen again. And going back to, Robinson was able to come in, but then he got hurt for a little bit. And, Robinson, he's a Stanford guy, and, those guys usually don't make those kind of mistakes. But
49ers just littered with Stanford guys. I mean, I gotta tell all my friends on the Stanford radio broadcast that we're getting a lot of Stanford action here on the Locked On 49ers Squad show this week. But it's fitting, I guess, because Stanford had a bye week this week. So getting your Stanford football in with your 49er football. But for the Niners today, 41-22 dominant win over the Arizona Cardinals. They started fast. They scored a lot of points before the half, but they kept scoring throughout this one, scored 16 points in the second half of this game as well. So you really won at all phases of this game, and I'm very happy with where the 49ers are right now. I think when you're looking at the cards that they've been dealt, the things that they've overcome this season, it's hard to be upset with where this team sits. And especially the biggest thing for me in this one was those 3 turnovers, because I can't remember the last time the 49ers forced 3 turnovers in a game. It was really great to see them do that, for Lenore to actually be able to generate some momentum with that return as well. I thought that was huge. So the 49ers defense, I thought, ultimately did its job today, even though they gave up. It's hard to say that they did their job when you're giving up 452 yards of passing and a NFL record 47 completions to Jacoby Brissett, who's on like his 15th NFL team and didn't have his wide receiver 1 or his starting running back. Nevertheless, I think that you got enough, right? This 49ers defense for the rest of the season, I think it's got to be bend but don't break. And you're not going to expect this team to go pitch a shutout. Like they just don't have the horses to do that at this point. But they can still generate some turnovers. They can still play some good football down in the red zone and hold teams to, about 20 points a week. And I think this offense, I think they can outscore people. I think that this offense is built to score a lot of points. And if you can keep it close with your defense, again, the bend but don't break style of play that we saw on display today, really. I mean, the Cardinals possessed the ball for, what felt like this entire game, but the 49ers able to capitalize on those moments, and not just the turnovers, but the penalties, man. We teased this in the beginning, but the number of penalties that the Cardinals had today, my God, 17 penalties, 130 yards. That is hard to win a football game when you're doing that to yourself. I mean, how big of a role did these penalties play, do you think, Crocky?
I think it was huge. If you think about early in this game, there was a 4th down opportunity for the Arizona Cardinals, and the running back ripped off a big run down the right sideline, and it was called back for holding, and it made them have to punt the ball. Like, things like that made it to where the 49ers were playing from a state of comfort, right? Like, the 49ers at no point in this game felt any type of legit pressure to have to force anything, right? They were very relaxed, but it was because of a lot of the mistakes that the Arizona Cardinals made early and often in this game. I mean, 17 penalties for 130 yards is incredible, and not in a good way for the Arizona Cardinals, but it gave the 49ers kind of this buffer. And it really showed a lot of why they're just a bad football team with everything that they have going on. Now, they have injuries and whatnot. They're playing without Kyler Murray. They're playing without Marvin Harrison Jr. They're playing without their running back. Can't think of his name right now, but went to Pittsburgh. Also played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. James Conner. Yeah, there we go. James Conner. So they are playing without guys in their little handicap, but so are the 49ers. They're playing without a ton of guys as well. And the one thing you can't do to make it even worse for you is have the amount of penalties that they have. But it definitely put the 49ers in a state of comfort.
I mean, yeah, a field and a half worth of yardage on this. I mean, my God, I don't even know what you do to, like, Dwayne. What if you were put yourself in Coach Dwayne board mode? If your defense, I guess not all of these penalties were on the defense, but if your team commits 17 penalties for 130 yards, what's that meeting sound like on Monday or on Tuesday coming in? What's that meeting like?
It's going to be real fiery, because first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take out each one of those penalties, 17 penalties, and put them up and talk about them. Okay, I'm going to let each guy who got a penalty show what he was doing and how it cost the team possibly a chance to win a football game, which it did. When you get up 139 yards on penalties and 17 of them, and it hadn't happened since the Cardinals were the Chicago Cardinals, because they changed their name up 3 or 4 times. So, and you have to make a point of it, because that cost you a game. I mean, it cost you a game that you had a chance probably to win, because, hey, your quarterback, you're going back to, he was hot. And the 49ers was showing that they were not on defense. So you can say, hey, this is the reason we lost. because of these penalties. We had a quarterback that was moving the ball. We had a quarterback that was keeping us in the game, and the penalties was what came up big. And like Croc said on the one fourth down, I think did the guy score or he got pushed out of bounds? I think he got pushed out
He
of
got
bounds.
pushed out of bounds, but it was a very big
Big
play.
run. It was a big play, and that lets the air out of your team, man. That makes you say, man, not again, another penalty. And it's no way you can win football games like that.
Yeah, I mean, it, as you said, hasn't happened since for the Cardinals that many penalties and that many yards since 1939. That's pre-World War II times. That is a very, very long time ago. Almost, I mean, damn near 100 years ago that happened last. It wasn't the only big notable historical thing to happen today. George Kittle also became the third 49er ever with 500 catches and 50 receiving touchdowns. It's a pretty good list to be in. I mean, there's been a lot of good pass catchers for the 49ers through the years. And if you're number 3 on the list for the third guy ever to come down with 50 catches and 50 touchdowns, I think that's saying something, man. George Kittle putting himself in rarefied air with his performances, not just today, but throughout his career with the 49ers. I mean, this guy can't say enough good things about him. Kittle today, 67 yards and a couple of touchdowns, really helped the 49ers out in the red area. And I think that it's just a no-brainer to me. Like, why the hell don't you throw the ball? Like, yeah, if you got 3 opportunities at the red zone, I'm giving George Kittle at least 1, maybe 2 of those. And if I'm taking a shot, because I mean, other than Christian McCaffrey, who are you going to go to instead? I mean, it's got to be Kittle in that red area. So Kittle doing what he needed to do today with those couple of touchdown grabs. And what a great day for the 49ers offense. 41 points. They outpaced the Arizona Cardinals 41-22. Even though the defense gave up some yards, the 49ers offense was able to outscore them and beat them with their offense and their prolific production there. It wasn't necessarily a ton of yardage. They didn't possess the ball for the whole game like they did a couple weeks ago, but you did see them score in the red area when it mattered. 4 of 5 trips to the red zone they ended up scoring. That's, I think, pretty solid. And the 49ers have been pretty good at scoring the ball when they've been in the red zone this year. I'm a little concerned about Eddie Piñeiro's injury. I don't think you need any more injuries to kickers or to special teams guys. That kind of gives me a little bit of concern. Hopefully he's okay. We'll see how this next week unfolds, and hopefully he's able to get out there for next week's game against the Panthers at Levi's. And that, you might see the Panthers on the schedule and think that should be a win for the 49ers, but do not sleep on this Carolina Panthers team. They are 6-5, and they've been pretty good all season long. I mean, they are not going to go and shock the world. I don't think that this team even makes the playoffs, but they beat the Packers a couple weeks ago or last week, maybe that was 2 weeks ago. I can't remember right now, but you don't want to sleep on this Carolina Panthers team. You want to make sure that you give them all of your full attention and don't look ahead in the schedule at all, because this is a team that could sneak up and bite you. So 49ers, they win this one 41-22 over the Arizona Cardinals. Another NFC West division win. That's very, very good for this 49ers team. They are winning a lot of conference games this year so far. The only loss at the hands of the Rams. So that's you're in a pretty good position tiebreaker wise, and you just got to make sure that you win that last game against the Seahawks. Only got one more NFC West game left on the schedule, and that is the very last game of the season in Week 18 against the Seattle Seahawks. So we'll see how that one goes, but 49ers for today, you move to 7-4 with the win, and you're sitting in a pretty good position in the NFC West. Let's take a quick break here on the other side. Got a lot more to get into from today, and we got to look ahead a little bit at the 49ers rest of the season schedule and do maybe some playoff projections. This is about the time of year where you can start to think about that. So let's get into those things and more next on the Locked On 49ers Squad Show. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Welcome back to the Locked On 49ers Squad Show. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, joined by Dwayne Board, four-time Super Bowl champion and host of the Locked On 49ers podcast, Eric Crocker. And guys, I mean, very, very, very solid win for the 49ers today. But do you think this was more about the Cardinals just playing bad than the 49ers winning this game? Or did you think that the 49ers did what they needed to do ultimately to win this game, Crocky? Was this like the Arizona Cardinals just continuously shooting themselves in the foot, or did the 49ers, go out and earn this?
Well, we talked about, big plays being called back, which I actually went and looked, and it looks like that fourth and one, it was a 60-yard touchdown run called back. Now, if they score on that, it looks like the score would have been 17-25 if they kicked the extra point. So, like, that kind of keeps you in the game, right? That makes it a one-score game. And now that you have the penalty, kind of flips it and makes it to where, it's kind of tough for us to get back in this ballgame. So, I think those type of situations like that where Arizona continuously shooting themselves in the foot and really giving themselves no chance to win this football game.
Yeah, and that's kind of what's got me a little bit, I'm not super concerned about it. I think, like I said at the start of the show, this is one of the first games, I think, all year where you didn't have like a ton to nitpick at the 49ers. But it still concerns me that this team, it felt like you needed a lot of those yardage or penalties and all that yardage to win this game. I think the 49ers benefited from that. They also capitalized on those moments, right? Like they still made the most out of them. They still, when Diamador Lenore put them in the red zone after that interception, they punched that ball in. They did not settle for a field goal. So there were still things that the 49ers did, in my opinion, to go out and win this game, but you had a lot of help. And I don't think you're going to, looking ahead, like the Panthers aren't going to give you that much help. Maybe the Titans and the Browns might, but the Colts and the Bears and the Seahawks sure as hell are not. So Dwayne, when you're looking ahead at this 49er schedule, does it concern you at all that the Cardinals or that the 49ers kind of, in order to win this game, needed to be bailed out a little bit by the Cardinals? Does it give you any cause of concern going forward?
Going forward, I think you got to look at the Carolina Panthers and forget about the Cardinals, because the Cardinals are the Cardinals. And that's the big game, because that team is hot right now. And the 49ers got to take care of business on Monday night with them. And you look at, okay, going to Cleveland, who knows what's going to happen in Cleveland? Okay, you going to Cleveland playing to win, because you win that game, you're going into your bye week feeling pretty good. Okay, so now you're going to come off your bye and you got an easy one, right? You got the Tennessee Titans, and that'll be another tune-up game for now. Guess who's coming again on when do they get the Colts on Monday night? Okay, so that's a big game for them too. And after that, you got the Bears, which it's another team I don't care too much about, because I never liked the Bears, never liked Mike Ditka, and never liked them for some reason. And because they had the what was that thing they used to do all the time? They had some kind of bear dance or something. Bear down. I never liked
the bear down thing.
Yeah, the bear down thing.
Super Bowl shuffle.
That was it. Yeah, the Super Bowl shuffle. They was doing the Super Bowl shuffle, and and the Bears, you can't sleep on them, because you don't know who's going to show up. But if they can pick up 4 more wins, that's going to put them in a good position, right, for a playoff spot. I think. I could be wrong.
11 wins. I think that gets you in. I think that gets you in.
Wins should get you a wild card at least. And the last game, you hope you don't have to come down to the last game being the Seahawks game to get you in, because right now that team is scary. And they play great defense, and and the quarterback is hot. So
yeah, I mean, the Seahawks today, Darnold, maybe not so hot. He did throw a ton of interceptions today in that Rams win, but that defense kept them in that game till the very last minute. I mean, they had no business hanging around in that game for as long as they did, and somehow, some way, the Seahawks still had a shot to send this one to overtime at the end. And that defense is so impressive, man. Like that Seahawks defense, they build in a little bit of a new Legion of Boom out there in Seattle. And man, it's not something I like as a 49er fan, seeing Seattle's defense start to rise up again. But yeah, I agree with you, Dwayne. Like if you're counting on one of those 4 wins coming against the Seahawks in Week 18, that's some sketchy territory. But you look at the Panthers, their next matchup, and I mean the Panthers have won 5 of their last 7. They're 5-2 in their last 7 games. And some of those wins, you look at them a little bit further and you're like, oh, they beat the Dolphins, they beat the Jets, they beat the Cowboys. None of these teams are, on anyone's Super Bowl contender list, but they also beat the Packers. They got absolutely, blown out of the barn by the Bills, but every other game, it was close. Even the other loss they had, it was a 17-7 loss to the Saints, and you kept that one pretty close too. So the Panthers, I think, are a formidable opponent, and I think the 49ers are going to need to try to slow down Rico Dowdle in that run game that the Panthers got going on. And that kind of concerns me a little bit because this 49ers defense, again, you're not able to do a whole lot as far as rushing the passer, but I do think that maybe there's one thing this defense can still do, it's stop the run. And we'll see if they can get it done against the Panthers next week. I don't know. Crocky, what do you think if the 49ers, if you had to identify one strength on this 49ers defense, what do you think it would be?
Come on, Crocky.
I don't think they have a strength. And that's a tough thing. Well, part of it, you kind of expected some of this, right? Like you expected, man, there's a lot of young guys. They're going to have their ups and downs. They have to figure it out. I think the issue was within them having to figure out, right? Like I'm talking about heading into the season, I didn't think the 49ers were going to have this great defense. I thought the offense would be good enough to kind of carry them a little bit, or it was going to have to be good enough to carry them. And that was me thinking about it with Fred Warner and Nick Bosa. You take Fred away, you take Nick away, you take guys like Michael Williams away that you were hoping to see some progression from, and there continues to be a plethora of injuries. That makes it even tougher to find any positives with this team. So I think right now, the best thing they can do is remain opportunistic when they have those chances to take the ball away, and then hope that the offense can cover up a lot of the deficiencies on defense, because there were garbage time stats for Jacoby Brissett in this game, but not all of them.
No.
And you definitely don't like to see someone that was as efficient throwing the ball as he was.
Yeah.
I mean, for a lot of his game, he had the 2 interceptions where they were definitely bad decisions by him. And even with that, he only had 8 incomplete passes. And at that time, he had like 40 attempts. So, that's just not ideal. Even in a game where you're really up and the team has to throw the ball, they have to figure out a way to create a little bit more resistance when teams are throwing the ball. The issue is that resistance typically comes from pass rush pressure, and the 49ers just don't have it right now.
Yeah, 82% completion percentage for Jacoby Brissett today is incredible. I mean, 57 pass attempts, 82% completion percentage is completely insane. But man, Crocky, I thought I was setting you up there for you to at least own on the 49ers run defense, man, because I thought this was like the one thing that this unit was going to be, relatively okay.
I thought that.
Good, but
I thought that, but then again, you take away Michael Williams, who actually did well against it. Alfred Collins, he's kind of in and out of lineup. He's kind of banged up. Again, there is no Nick Bosa. There is no Fred Warner out there. So it really is very difficult to find any positive outside of Robert Saleh. If the fan base wants to hang their hat on a positive, there we go. Robert Saleh. He's going to figure it out once he kind of gets in the groove with whatever players are going to be out there. Robert Saleh may be able to figure it out. But I'm pretty sure Dwayne Board will tell you this as well. And every coach says this. It's not always about the X's and O's. It's about the Jimmies and Joes. And the 49ers are missing a lot of the Jimmies and Joes on defense right now.
I agree with you. They are missing a lot. And you know what else too, Croc? The run game, Arizona. If you will put that touchdown run in, Arizona, they didn't even try to run the ball. But when they did, he took it to the house, and it was called back because of a stupid ass penalty. But you go back and you look at your Jimmys and Joes, they don't. That's all they got. It's a bunch of Jimmys and Joes with no names. And look at one thing that they really miss. They don't have no hitter, man. They don't have no. They don't have that strong safety that lights people up, huh? Do they?
That tone setter, right? And I think sometimes when you go back and you think of the Dante Whitners, the Deshaun Goldsons of the world, you think of those guys, and it's like, well, it doesn't have to be quite that. I know those guys will probably have a little bit of trouble playing in today's day and age with the amount of big hits that they put on their opponents. But Talanoa Hufanga, he was flying down. He was a really good tackler. You miss him, and then I'm watching Red Zone, and I'm seeing him flying around making plays for the Denver Broncos today.
Yeah, why'd they let him go? To me, that guy, he was a hitter, And you going back talking about hitters, you left out Cam Chancellor now.
Oh man.
He bought smoke. Okay.
Well, I was talking about 49er hitters, but if you want to talk about a player who I think the 49ers were kind of scared of, definitely Cam Chancellor.
I don't know what it was this week, man, but I saw so many. Something got into my algorithm on my social media feeds. I saw that replay of Cam Chancellor just ending Vernon Davis's career on the sideline, probably like 10 separate times this week. And why the hell was this continuously coming up on my feed? Get out of here. Like, I did not interact with any of these posts. I don't know why the hell keeps bringing it up. It's like one of the darkest memories from my childhood. I loved Vernon Davis, and I remember watching that play live and just thinking, the 49ers are never going to beat the Seattle team. Like, they're just never going to do it. And that moment, like, just drilled that into my brain. And probably as hard as Cam Chancellor drilled Vernon Davis into the turf on that play. And Cam Chancellor forever strikes fear in my heart as a 49er fan. And he was exactly to what you're talking about, Dwayne. Like, the Legion of Boom would not have been the Legion of Boom without Cam Chancellor. I mean, you would not have had Richard Sherman rise to the level that he did without the fear that guys had of Cam Chancellor, because no one was throwing the ball over the middle on that Seattle defense. Absolutely nobody was. Jimmy Garoppolo throwing hospital balls out there. It was just not an option, because somebody was literally going to spend the rest of the evening in the hospital if you did that, and Cam Chancellor was lurking around back there in the secondary. So it would be great if the 49ers could add anybody on this team that could lay the thump. I mean, you don't see it, right? I mean, maybe Malik Mustafa is the one guy who you could maybe see kind of striking some fear, but he's still a little small. He hits hard, but he doesn't have that imposing physical size. You look at him, he doesn't just strike fear in your heart like some of these other guys do.
Yeah, but then you go back to the old days, when Ronnie struck fear in guys, and you look at Tim McDonald. T-Mac was, that dude was a linebacker playing safety, and he bought the heat, and I haven't seen it. They haven't had it, and they need to get it, and that's a key too. That strong safety spot. Croc can tell you, man, the run game, strong safety. He plays a big part in shutting down the run. When you're putting 7 guys in the box, 8 guys up in the box, man, you got to have a thumper. And you want to see guys go backwards. You don't want to see somebody trying to grab somebody around the ankles and get driven for 5 yards. And that's what you see a lot in the 49ers tackling game right now. You can see in guys not pushing guys back, but taking them on a ride.
All that weak yardage.
Yeah, there's a lot of leak yardage coming.
Yeah, and that's one thing that Robert Saleh loves to talk about is limiting that leak yardage. And while the 49ers don't have that big thumper that's going to go drive the guy backwards 5 yards, they, I think, do a good enough job of gang tackling and not leaving any one guy on an island to make a play. But when you do see that when they end up in some of those situations, it's a little rough watching the 49ers try to make solo tackles one-on-one in open space. It doesn't seem like it's something that this team is good at. But as Crocky kind of said earlier, that's where you hang your hat on Robert Saleh and you say, please don't leave anybody out on an island, and make sure that everybody is coming to help each other out, and make sure that that you're not in a bad position in stuck in the open field with the guy who's probably going to break a tackle. So 49ers today, some more things to kind of focus on going forward, but ultimately 41-22, a nice win over the Arizona Cardinals, which it really kind of felt like an extension of Levi's out there, man. I mean, I heard them trying to, doing the Cardinals chants and stuff. And every time that they did it, it would just be so lackluster. And I know we're getting it through the TV, so we're not getting the full experience, but any posts that I saw from inside the Cardinal stadium today, I saw this one going around where it showed the Cardinals, the guys waving the flags around on the sideline, and they were trying so hard to get the crowd hyped up and pumping them up and waving their arms around and stuff. And it's just this chaos of boos raining down from all the 49ers fans in that section. And it just felt like an extension of Levi's, man. And this team travels really well. And obviously that's going to give you a little bit of a lift whenever you're on the road. But ultimately this offense was really, really good today. 41 points for the San Francisco 49ers. And you got a lot of help from the special teams and a lot of help from the Arizona Cardinals shooting themselves in the foot repeatedly over and over and over again today. But big win for the Niners, another win in the NFC West, and the 49ers sit at 7-4 with the win. Let's take one more quick break here, and on the other side, we'll wrap this show up, put a nice little bow on it, and send you guys on your way for a nice 49ers victory Monday. And what better way to start your week than with a 49ers win? We'll take a break. We'll be right back here on the Locked On 49ers Squad Show. Welcome back to the Locked On 49ers Squad Show. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, joined by my guys, Dwayne Board, 4-time Super Bowl champion, and Eric Crocker, co-host of the Locked On 49ers podcast. And today, 49ers, as we were just discussing, put the thump on the Rams. And man, I'm feeling good about this team. 7-4, pretty solid. If you can just get 4 more wins, and when I'm looking at this schedule, I see some winnable games. I'm not going to go as far as Dante Whitner and say all I see are winnable games, but we do see a lot of winnable games on the schedule going forward. I think that next week against the Panthers, you've got to start there. It's a big game for the 49ers making the playoffs. I think that I'm not going to say if you lose that game, you miss the playoffs, but it becomes really, really, really hard, I think, if you lose against the Panthers next week at home. Dwayne, as far as your urgency level for the 49ers, max urgency being I'm making this a must-win game against the Panthers next week, and I guess minimum urgency being they could lose this game and still walk into the playoffs. Where are you on that scale? Is this a must-win against the Panthers next week?
I think it's a must-win. I think it's a must-win the next 2 weeks, because then they're going into the bye. Hopefully, they can pick some healthy guys up to make that little dash to the playoffs. I can see it, but they got to get these 2, not just win. It's 2 they need to get before the bye.
And Crocky, same question. What's your level of urgency for this coming game against the Panthers?
Oh, well, I think it's urgent because, you're at home, and that's what you want to take care of, right? You want to take care of everything at the house, and you look at the home games remaining. You got the Panthers, you have the Titans, and you have the Chicago Bears. Definitely 3 winnable games. I think if the 49ers take care of their house, first and foremost, I think that would be enough wins, 10, I believe, to get them in the playoffs, at the very least, a 7th seed.
We'll see what happens next week against the Carolina Panthers, but that is all the time that we got for you guys today here on the Locked On 49ers Squad Show. Fun game, fun show. 49ers win 41-22 against the Cardinals. Brock Purdy's back, and he looked great. And you see why there is virtually zero quarterback competition there or controversy in San Francisco, as everybody has repeatedly stated over and over. Mac Jones himself has said, this is Brock Purdy's team. And he showed you why today with the 41 points that the 49ers put up in this win over the Cardinals. Thanks so much to everyone for tuning in. Shout out all our everydayers tuning in to the show. We appreciate all of you. And thanks for making us your first listen following anything 49ers that you need to know. So make sure you're tuning in, make sure you're subscribed, and don't miss out on any of the Locked On 49ers Squad shows or any of the Locked On 49ers podcasts with Eric Crocker and Brian Peacock. Our other guy, Peacock, who it would be fun to get the four of us in a show before the end of the season. Maybe we'll try to swing that before the end of the year. We got to make that one happen. But for my guys, Dwayne,
holiday show, because I want to see Croc wearing his holiday sweater. I know he got one. Huh?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
we'll have to make that happen. We'll get the ball rolling on all of that. But for today, that's all the time we got for you guys. For my co-host Dwayne Board and Eric Crocker, I'm your host Eric Triple E Engel. We'll see you next time. Peace.